this is a good episode to watch all the way through the end. If you're somebody who wants to have some pretty clear examples of what it means that all crypto will end up moving the same way, it's just a question of when it happens and on what time frame, because these three assets right now are giving some perfect example of what that phrase means. So let's dive into the chart. All right. We are looking at Verasity on the monthly scale. Now let's look at Trias. Verasity. Trias. Verasity. Trias. So what your eyes should be picking up on is that, well, actually, I just had my drawing tools hidden. I've already drawn this. So essentially, you have a sloppy consolidation similar to what Bitcoin's was. This is the top of the consolidation. These two candles here over in March, or in this case May. It was March and April for Bitcoin, which formed the higher end. This sloppy consolidation on the monthly scale finally got passed. You have a green candle closure, and you're one candle in after that first candle closure above. So you're on your first candle that can both open and close, since this one opened below, right? All right, so your first potential open and close above your monthly horizontal. And Verasity, same deal. You have your monthly horizontal first candle that could both open and close, because this one, even though it closed above green, it opened below. Nice sloppy consolidation, just like Bitcoin. So they are exactly step by step, doing the same thing. However, you'll see that they also both closed pretty high above this horizontal, right? And I said on Trias on the weekly that doesn't happen. It does happen a little bit more often on the monthly, though. So that rule, I wanted to follow up on a rule in terms of, so let's go to the weekly. Let's revisit what that rule was. I kept saying in this very tight, so weekly chart now, this tight consolidation, if you see the first week to go above it, right, and it hasn't closed above yet, so no candles have closed above these top, if it really flies around $15, you're going to have a good opportunity to sell 10 or 20% of that Pokemon asset, that Pokemon card, because it will need to close closer to the line, right, instead of way above it. And that's what played out. I want to let you know on the monthly scale that rule, again, doesn't really apply. So a heads up, I did not make that clear. And as I was thinking about what I was going to say in this video, I realized, you know what, I have never covered that, and that would have been a bummer if somebody were looking at that, what I said about the weekly, and I said it applies to all time frames, and I definitely misspoke. It does not apply to the monthly as well, but other time frames, the daily, the 4 hour, that's typically the way it plays out as well. A nice tight knit closure above. All right, so what does this mean outside? Okay, they look kind of the same. Tim, let's get with this here. Well, it's important that Trias fans also take a look at Verasity, because these charts are going to move similarly. And if one moves before the other, it's possible that they continue to move similarly. So right now, Trias is breaking fully in on the daily scale into the RSI control zone with finally a closure, what you can consider a closure of the RSI's EMA, which is the white line. Once that finally breaks in, the chance for it to get faked out and actually it comes back out of it, the chances of getting forced back down out of the green control zone are much lower once your EMA gets above. Perfect example here. Look, broke in, but the EMA was way down here. So the likelihood of that break-in to keep going up was very unlikely. It was too far away from its EMA, which was actually way down here at the time. It went straight from here to here in one tick, because that was a big day. But the overall though, so it looks like, almost somebody's hair, maybe it's Batman. So it looks like Batman's hiding up in here. See that? Batman with a halo. So it's dead Batman with a halo. He went to heaven. I just drew dead Batman. All right. Anyway, so I thought that was funny. Sorry. All right. So, but the green couldn't stay in, and you can see if you take off the green itself, the EMA never got inside, right? So the chance of the green coming back down outside of this and get rejected by the bullish control zone was a little bit higher because it was in there fully way before the EMA is up there. So this is really good. So this, honestly, Trias doesn't even look like it needs to correct very much. You know, somebody might say, yeah, but Tim, the Stokes are crossing down. Yeah, but bullish moves, typically the Stokes move like this. I mean, it could stay up there for over a month, and it just got up there. So I don't find that concerning. Some of the biggest moves are, you know, in Bitcoin and everything happen even when the Stokes have been up for several days, if not a week, like 5 different days, and then the move really picks up momentum. So I think this is just going to keep stair stepping. Honestly, it would be really cool if it could simply use it. So I'm on the daily chart. The red line you're seeing is the daily 10 EMA. This is the daily 20. If it could just ping like do a 1 2 and then a 1 2 1. So if it could do a move up, correction to the 10, move up, correction to the 10, move up, correction to the 21, consolidate, repeat. Boom, correction to the 10, boom, correction to the 10, boom, correction to the 21. I mean, it's kind of what it might be doing. So if that's true, just hit the 21, correction to the 10, correction to the 10. This might go sideways and down a little bit. And how many days would that take? 1, 2. So that'd only be a 3 candle correction. And then it turns around on Wednesday or Thursday with bigger candles on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the weekly closure. Because you do have a statistical edge on Trias that this week will close green, as I've been saying, and you still do. So, but it could, like I said in my previous videos, this could go red for 3 days. Yeah, so exactly. I actually forgot I said that, but now I realize I kind of had that baked into a green week. And the cool thing about it is, because this is potentially happening at the beginning of the week, that simply increases the probability that it really does flip green. Because if you see, you know, green candles in a week and then it starts turning red on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that Sunday doesn't have a whole lot of hope, you know, to flip the week back green. So now that this is happening at the beginning of the week, you can still get a deeper correction at plenty of time without getting too hot too fast to really fire up. So this might not be a big green candle closure, but I would still say there's a statistical edge because the basic rule is once you consolidate, you close 1 candle above, the next 2 are green on the weekly scale. So yeah, this might be up to a 3-day candle correction. All right, let's take a look at MTV here. MTV on the weekly closure. Oh yeah, the monthly. So this is a lot different than the first two. Those two are in this candle. So MTV is technically 2 months ahead of what they're doing. All right, so keep that in mind. It's already had its sloppy monthly consolidation and broken out of it, closed a candle above, open and close one, open, close a second, and it's working on opening and closing its potential third. So it's, you know, structurally 2 months ahead, which is kind of impressive, actually. That's really impressive. This weekly, honestly, it's got so much support here. And with this closure above, plus this wicked support, I mean, this looks like a very statistically likely good pick up, with the base assumption, though. With the base assumption, Bitcoin and Ethereum will stay relatively strong without anything over a 5% dip. I don't see it going much below that line at all, and I still do see this week closing green. The next 2 weeks, actually, dependent upon the base assumption, Bitcoin and Ethereum don't do anything stupid to the downside, which could happen. So that would negate. So the negating factor is, I mean, a daily closure before or below last week's open. I mean, that would be bad. You would then potentially want to retest the weekly 10 that week, come up, close red or green, but not big, and then blast up the next week. So that could be what happens with MTV. Let's dive into the daily, though, see if I see any weakness. That actually aligns with the daily. So the daily, once it gets down, so the daily RSI, once it tanks this far below, right? And it also got rejected from here without the EMA getting inside, like I said. So it's when you get up here and your EMA just isn't even close and it comes back down to check, you drastically lose your chances, right, of staying in here. Anyway, so it's even farther down, and usually this level here is not a bounce point. Typical bounce points for the daily are this white line and the red line. And then between them for your top 3 most likely bounce points, right? bounce points that are not specific to the EMA itself, like all of these, or a rejection point and rejection point and rejection point, right? But levels. So there are a lot of bounce points on this, but specific to horizontals. So in this horizontal, that what I just said aligns with the idea that it would reset here and then give it another try to then have its EMA get fully in so it can stay in and really get, I mean, honestly, once that happens, once you see MTV do something like get the EMA this close and give a big shot up, that'll be a powerful move. It's going to come back and recheck. It's probably going to do something pretty similar to this again. So let's take a fractal of what that would look like. It honestly looks like it's setting up to do something almost to repeat the dang process. Woo! Maybe not that hot. That would take it up to 12 cents. A 6X. Ugh. It's a bigger cap. Let's shrink that down a little bit. How about this? That's still 7 cents. I mean, on the monthly, it's got continuation going, and sometimes it's the second month to both open and close potentially. Sometimes that is the biggest candle. That's when the move starts intensifying and more buyers jump in. Often, not always. And given that it's landing on the November in a crypto cycle, perceivably more than halfway through the bull run, I mean, it could get really hot. Yeah, the chart, the day, I mean, even the 12-hour Stokes are, this is a pretty good bounce point for them, this line here. And the 12-hour Stokes alone, just doing 1 or 2 or 3 curls up there, I mean, that can move price pretty heavily. This MTV, honestly, looks like it's more than ready to go. In 3 days once the daily RSI resets, but this week should be a good week for it. You're probably going to see a big turnaround around Wednesday, although timing in TA is about the hardest thing that you could possibly attempt to do. So I don't know how fully I covered Veracity, because I know I was looking at the monthly chart and everything. So Veracity's daily RSI is saying that it wants to break in here, because if you take off the green, its EMA did get all the way in. So like I was saying earlier, here, watch. And so, when crypto moves the same, oftentimes the RSI moves, the same and gives similar signals too, right? So by default, the chance that the green falls fully out of here is lower than when the EMA of the RSI is lower, per the other example that I gave, right? So you can see it broke in there. So I would say it doesn't need to reset or anything on that time scale. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, honestly, it looks like on the weekly candle, it's just going to end up being a small backfill before it flips green. I would say by Tuesday, Wednesday, that would be my guess. My primary indicators look pretty good on that for the weekly as well. Making higher lows on the 4-hour RSI, which in price means you've made a series of higher lows. Honestly, this looks like it's about ready to heat up. I know it's in a fairly bullish posturing. And typically when something is in a bullish posturing, I would prefer to look at sell points, but this is in a posturing where it's bullish and it looks like it's going to give a push just as big as the previous one, if not slightly bigger, actually. It looks like it's coiled up and ready to strike like a rattlesnake. That's 12 cents. But a couple of them on 12. I mean, this looks, honestly, it looks like it's going to go higher. Yeah, I would say you get a ping off that line. It was some pretty big support resistance up here as well. And I think that could happen. Let's see here. How long would that take? Yeah, by mid-November. And then I would not be surprised if Veracity hit this bolded line. I probably bolded it because in an earlier assessment, I said I think it's going to race up to this line, but it'll probably ping off here on a daily scale, maybe 4-day correction, and then consolidate the rest of that week, maybe close a small red week, and then continue up and hit this line. So, I mean, Bitcoin closed a weekly candle over 60K. I said that will be the time to be bullish, and I was saying that when Bitcoin was down around 30K, and I'm flipping bullish now, and that's That's what you're supposed to do. All right. Hey, everybody, hit like for me. Turn your phone vertically and hit like. And if not, then you get flipped off. Also, for new viewers, if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the bell, because I'm going to help walk you through a more profitable crypto journey without the statistical likelihood of falling into a big trap. All right. And also, for new folks, these 2 videos can change the outlook of your crypto journey as well. Take a look into that, and we'll see you the next time.